Hello everyone, this is Gayle. I'm sorry I got ahead of you, but I didn't think about making this into a video. But I wanted to show you something that I have been thinking about for a while, and hopefully it's going to work. This was a tree that I got at Dollar Tree last year that was originally covered in this tinsel. And I just unrolled the tinsel. It wasn't even attached. It was just, because it's wired tinsel, it was just folded around. And I am adding pipe cleaners, and I'm adding green just because I wanted to, because I'm going to use this ribbon and hopefully make a pretty peppermint looking tree. So let me see, I'm not going to cut with my good scissors. Let me cut another little, cut one in half. I've already cut these in half once because I was using them for wreaths, and I'm not really doing wreaths anymore. But if you see on this tree, you had this ring, and this ring. And I needed a ring in between, so that's why I'm using the pipe cleaners. I'm just winding them around and twisting them here, so I'll have something, which I'll show you in just a minute. So I just wanted to finish wrapping this. I just twist the ends and wrap it around. Now I'll twist this end. And wrap it around. And you can see I'm creating another bar in between. And I'll do the same thing up here at the top, which I don't think this is going to be long enough. Nope, it's going to be just a little bit too short. So I'll pull out another one. These also came from Dollar Tree at Christmas time. And I'll just put it there. That looks about halfway, maybe down one rung. And it's real easy to keep these straight because it's got these little prongs on the original framework, and you just run it between the prongs. Of course, this one's going to be a little bit harder because there's not much room for my fingers, but just so it will stay here. I'm just going to push those in because this is a little bit loose. Alright, so now I have my tree frame. This would also work on a styrofoam cone, which I have some somewhere, but you know, I cleaned up my craft room about 6 months ago and tried to organize things, and I did organize it, I just can't find anything. And these styrofoam trees are the things I can't find, and I've vowed that I will not buy any more Christmas stuff until I use the stuff I've got. I've just got too much stuff. So I'm going to take this, it's wired ribbon. It doesn't have to be wired, it's just that's what I was able to find. And I believe this is 1 inch. Yes, I got this at Hobby Lobby. It was $4.99 for 30 feet. And it was 40% off, so I think it was $2.99. So 40 feet ought to last me. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do like, you know, like you do the little ribbons. And let me see how that's going to look. I need it just a little bit longer here on the bottom. Okay, and what I'm going to do is cut this. And again, I'm going to use my blue handled scissors. To cut. Then I'm going to measure to see how long this is. Let me get my other measure. Let me get this one out. I have so many rulers and things left over from my work days. So this is right about 5 inches. So I'm going to cut several that are 5 inches. I don't know how many I'm going to need, so I'm going to cut several, and if I end up having any left over, I can use them on a separate row. Actually, what I think I'll do, it might be quicker just to bend it, since it is wired. And then bend it again, and just keep bending it, and then I can cut. Cut through here. Now I have no idea how many I'm going to need for this tree. I'm assuming as I get towards the top they will be a little bit shorter. Let me see if this will cut through all these. These are inexpensive, oh yeah, inexpensive scissors, but I don't want to use my good scissors, even though they're self-sharpening. I just don't want to mess them up. So I'm going to start with this. I know I'm going to need a lot more. So let me see, I've cut 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let me just make it an even 10. Because I want to keep track, so at the end I can say how many I used. So that's 10, and I'm going to write that down. I used 10. And I'm going to put a plus, so the next time I cut these, I'll know what to do. So here I'm going to take these two ends, and I'm going to like fold it this way. See what I'm doing? I'm just folding it this way, and then I'm going to overlap the end. And what I'm going to do is put a touch of glue in between here to hold these two together. Well, I thought this was plugged in, but evidently it's not. My glue gun is cold. Nope, I unplugged it to use the plug for something else. Sorry about that. It won't take but a second for it to heat up. Sorry about that. I was having trouble with my power to my heat gun, but it was user error. It was not the heat gun. So while I'm waiting for the heat gun to heat up, I'm going to go ahead and cut some more of these, because I know I'm going to need more than 10 to cover this whole tree. So that will give me something to do while we're waiting, and I may even fast forward through this so you don't have to sit and watch me cut ribbon, because that's like watching paint dry. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. How do I always end up with 9? So let me make it an even 10 again. So far we've used 20 of these loops, and we'll see how many more it's going to take. So let me write that down. So I did 10 more. So far I've used 20. And let me see if my heat gun is heated up enough to add a drop of glue. And what I might do, just to give these a chance to harden, is go ahead and do several of these. So again, it's almost like I'm folding in half, but then I put the ends side by side and then crisscross them. And I'm going to do several of these so I can do it sort of production style. So let me go back to the first one because that should be cooled off pretty good already. Alright, so we've got this one. And I'm going to lay the tree down so hopefully you can see a little bit better. But what I'm going to do is put glue on the back of this, on the back of the ribbon. And I'm going to take it and put it right there on that bar that goes up and down. And you'll see that's why I needed the pipe cleaners in between. I'm going to hold it for a minute until make sure it holds before I let go. Then I'm going to go to the next bar. Put glue on the back. Only in the center. That's the only place you need it, is in the center. And make sure you put these to where I want this to come down just a little bit more to cover this little prong at the bottom. At the bottom of this, you can see there's this little prong sticking out. I can't get it to where you can see it, maybe right there, so you can see it. And I'm hooking the ribbon around that because I don't want that to show. Whoops, there goes my ruler. I've been doing so many essential oil videos that I thought maybe I needed to start showing you some of my craft videos. Even though they're not polymer clay, they're still good, valid crafts, and I love doing crafts. You know me. Let's see, this one for some reason is a little bit shorter. I don't know why, because I cut them all the same. There you go, it does go on it. But right now I'm gluing just on the bar. And I'm going to do this so you don't have to wait. Then in between, yep, that's going to work just fine. In between, I'm going to put one, and I'm going to make this go across this time. The glue is going to go across because I want it to stick to that pipe cleaner. And I probably should have my little silicone fingers on, because there's more glue and it's going to be hot, but I think it's okay. Let me adjust this camera a little bit. I don't think you can see everything I'm doing. There. But see how that's looking there? And I'm going to keep going. See, I had one more that I've already done. And I'm going to put glue across the top of it. And glue that to this one. One good thing about this is you can look in the bottom and see where you're attaching. Of course, being wired ribbon, you can always go back. But there's this part of it. I know it doesn't look like much now, but it's going to look pretty. And I got this idea when I went to Hobby Lobby, as a matter of fact. They had a ceramic tree like this. And it was like $30. And I thought, shoot, you can get some pretty ribbon and use one of my, what I thought was my styrofoam cones. The styrofoam would probably work a little bit better just because you don't have to worry about running these bars around it. You just might want to mark your lines so you'll know where to glue things. But I'm going to keep going and finish the bottom row, and then we'll come back and start the next row. Okay, I finished the bottom row, and I know it doesn't look like much yet, and I guess if I did this again, I would paint this bottom ring because it does show a little bit, but I'm going to do something. I've got plans in my head. I don't know if they'll work, but I've got some ideas in my head on how to cover that after I'm done. So we shall see. All right, so now what I'm going to do, and I went ahead and put together the rest of the 20 that I originally cut. I went ahead and glued those together, and what we want to do here is go over just a little bit. See where this one and this one are together? I'm going to put it so that this loop falls in between these two loops. Can you see that? And I'm going to attach it to this next bar. If you hear my cat, I apologize. He likes to talk, and right now he's telling me, put my food down, put my food down. But I think once you get this row going, then you'll see what it is I'm shooting for. I might even wrap this around a little bit just to bring it up a little bit. See how that sits up and it's in between these two. And I'm going to do this all the way around. Now we may not need as many. I'm not sure. I used 12, I believe. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, I used 12 on the bottom. So let me take another one. And people have been asking about my hot glue gun. Not in this video because you haven't seen it yet, but in other videos I've done. And I wanted to show you, this is what I use, and I absolutely love it. It's the Sure Bonder High Temp Cordless. I know it's got a cord here, but this part comes off and still heats for 2 minutes. So you can do all the gluing you need to do, and then put it back on the thing, and it recharges again. So I love it, and it's got this built-in little pad for the glue to fall on. I really do like it. Plus I found this nifty little silicone mat at Dollar Tree. I've got 2 of them. The other one's over here. In the craft section, they were hanging up with the other craft things, but it was rolled up. Actually, you can see there, it was rolled up in a little roll like this, which looked like a pencil. So look for them. I mean, for $1.25, you can't beat it. And I just got glitter all over that one, so I'm going to have to clean that one off. There is glitter on this ribbon, by the way. So back to the tree. Let me first see where I want to put this. If I put this on the bar, I think that's going to work. Almost on the bar, anyway. I mean the bar, I mean the up and down bar. I'm going to put it right there. And hold it. And see, that put it again in between these 2 loops. I hope you can see all this because it's kind of busy. And I'll just keep going around. See, this one is going to be a little bit more. Let me just turn it a little bit. They don't have to be exactly in between the loops, but you want it to be full, and one way of doing that is to cover the loops. Is to go in between the loops, I'm sorry. And somehow, I either have one that I've dropped off on the floor, or I only cut 19. I thought I cut 20. because I put 3, and this is 4, so that's 7, and 12 is only 19. So let me write it down. First I'm going to put at 5 inches, and I put 12 on the, let me make sure I'm doing this right. This will be number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, I did 12 on the bottom row. I'll put these in the notes so you'll know what's going on. And I don't know how many I'm going to put on the second row yet. And this one went right on the bar. And while you're holding it, waiting for, ouch, got myself with the hot glue. But while you're waiting, you can, you know, reshape these. You can stick your finger in here and make it a little bit rounder, or whatever you want to do with it. So I'm going to continue on this row. As soon as my hands are free and I can turn the camera off. And I will come back when I finish this row. Okay, I've finished the second row. You can see it's beginning to look more like a tree now, rather than just a bunch of ribbons on this ring. Now, this section is going to be the most difficult because we're using the pipe cleaner, but we used it before and it worked out okay. So I'm hoping, got my fingers crossed. I had cut 10 more since I ended up only having 19 a little while ago, and I still feel like there's a 20th one around here somewhere. So right now I've done a total of 29, counting what I've got here, and I've got 6 of them here. So I'm going to start the third row, and then I'll pause the camera while I finish that one. And I will let you know what we've done. But I ended up putting my silicone fingers on because I was finding that I was really beginning to burn myself. So I'm going to wrap it there, and I like to put the 2 corners in and glue them down just as a little bit of extra support until the glue dries. But this has really saved my fingers a lot. Okay, so that one is on there. You can see where I'll put that one on there. And I'm just going to keep doing this. I'll start the row, and then I'll go back to turning the camera off. But I only used 11 on the second row. So chances are, as I do this row, I'm going to find that I'm using less of these. So we shall see. In gluing these on, you really don't have to be careful about hiding after you get up here, because the ribbon itself hides everything. So you don't have to be quite as particular as you do at the bottom when you're trying to cover that bottom rung. But okay, Okay, there is the third row. So it's beginning to really look good. There might be a few little places I need to rebend the ribbon a little bit. There's one, where did I just see that where the ribbon was tucked under, right here. I'll go in through here and just poke this through the hole and reshape it, and we're back in business. That's one reason I like the wired ribbon, because it holds its shape. And you can, if you mess it up, you can always fix it. So I am going to go ahead and I'm going to add the rest of the rows up to the top. I'm going to stop when we get close to the top, and we will go from there. So I'm going to turn the camera off again. I've made more of these. I made a total of 40, counting what's on here. I had 12 on the bottom row, 11 on the second row, and 9 on the third row. So I'm going to have to make more. But just remember this: the number of ribbons you need to cut depends on the size of your base. Now this base is, and where did I put my ruler? Oh, here it is. It's upside down, so I couldn't see it. The base of this is 5 inches. It was 5 inches, and it is almost 10 inches tall. So this is a pretty big one. You may not need this much for a smaller tree. But again, I'm going to show you what I'm planning on doing on the bottom here to cover up the bottom. But I'm going to go ahead and I'll make more. I'm going to probably use this whole thing of ribbon at the rate I'm going. And I'll be back before, when we get to the top. I came back in because I am getting close to the top. And I'm learning along right with y'all just the way you are. But I am putting on this last rung where the last pipe cleaner is, I'm actually putting these on the post and pinching it to hold it. And while I'm holding it, I want to show you what I meant about, this is one of those tools that you can get at Dollar Tree. It's a makeup blender, but I use it for this. But see how you can just stick that in there and pull out so you can reshape. This one looks pretty good. There are going to be some that just from your handling, they're going to get mashed. But when you're finished, you can go back in like this and just unmash them and give them some shape if you use wired ribbon. If you don't use wired ribbon, it's not going to be quite as easy. But I wanted to just show you what I'm doing here at the top. Put it around that pole and then pinch it. And hold it till it dries. Ouch, it's hot up in there. Where'd my little thing go? How many of you have worked with hot glue and never burned yourself? Because I don't think it's possible. Now while I'm waiting for this to dry, I want to show you, we've still got some space up here. So I'm going to put one more row. I've got 3 left out of 45 that I made. And again, this is only if you're using a big tree like this. If you're doing a smaller tree, you don't need this many. But this time I'm going to have to put it in between, which is going to be like right up here at the top. And I'm going to pinch that around. I'm probably going to use 3 here. See what I'm doing? I hope 3 because that's all I've got left. And I'm going to add another glue stick. And like I said, I use the Gorilla Glue glue sticks. They're awesome. I also have the long ones, but I'd rather not use the long ones. They kind of get in my way when I'm trying to do a video. So I'll put this one here and pinch that around. I'm going to have to hold these for a minute. And then the third one will go right here. So that has covered up that top. See how it's covered it up? I've got my fingers in the way, but see there's nothing but a little nub sticking up, which is fine because we need that nub. Just looking at the ones I'm going to need to fluff up a little bit, but that's okay. It'll be fine. So now I've got the ribbon part. So I ended up using 45 ribbons, which, like I say, is for a big, this is pretty large for a tree. If you use the styrofoam cones, they won't be this big, unless you find a huge one. But what I've got now, while I'm going to let this sit aside and dry, or cool, or whatever you want to call it, I'm going to take, you know, these little wood pieces that you can get, the laser cut wood you can get at Dollar Tree. I have the ones that stars, and I'm going to cut the tape first off. And remove this and decide which star I want. There's 3 different kinds. There's this one, and this one, and there's 2 of each. I see some of them still have the little insides to where it was laser cut. But I think I'm going to use this one, and I'm going to need 2 of them. And let me go ahead and let me get my weeding tool. See, there's some little wooden pieces that are still stuck in there. There's one right here. And that one looks okay. I'll put these away and save them for another project. It's pretty good that you get 6 of them in a package. And what did I, here it is. I'm just going to slip this back in so they won't get lost. There you go, there's that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint these silver, and I'm also going to sprinkle it with silver glitter. So I've got some silver acrylic paint, and this is, I love this paint. It's so easy to use. And I've got a couple of brushes. This is sort of a rough, I use this brush a lot to antique or to distress things. I also got a little flat brush because I don't know which one is going to be best to use. But I got a couple of those. And where is my glitter? It's in a little jar. I thought I stuck it in here. But obviously I didn't. How many of you do? Oh, here it is. Again, this is Dollar Tree glitter. You don't see a lot of it. Near the holidays, you'll start seeing more of this. But it comes in red, in silver, gold, red, and green. But I'm going to paint these silver and then sprinkle them. I can take these off now. I've got red glitter all over everything, but I love the glitter on that tree. But you're having, well, this one doesn't have it. Some of these have a rough side and a smooth side. Both of these look good. So I am going to, actually I'll just use a Post-it. Put that there, and I'm going to sprinkle my, not sprinkle, I'm going to squeeze out a little bit of silver paint. I may need more, but I'd rather start with the little. And I'm going to start with this brush and see how it works. And just paint this silver. If you want to do, and I'm doing silver because this ribbon at the wired part is silver. Can you see this here? So pick whatever color you want. I'm using silver because of that. And I'm going to sprinkle some silver on it. And I probably should put something else other than this matte under it, but I'm going to try. Because you know how glitter is. It just goes everywhere. And I'm being a little liberal with my glitter, because not all of it's going to stick. And what I'm going to do is glue these together. Well, let me see something. What I need to do before I do anything is paint these edges. I'm going to need just a little bit more paint. Because you want the sides not to look like wood, but to look like glitter. Of course, I'm going to have it all over me. And I'm going to use the glitter that's down here. Let me wipe my hands off. Let's see, I'm bound to have something a little thicker. actually is sticking to my fingers pretty good. And I'll just stick it to the paint. It's drying on me. I'm sure I've got something I could scrape it up with. Okay, let me see if I got this one. I did get this one, but it's dried, I'm sure. So let me just dip it in a little bit of water. And I'll do those two. Because I don't want to glue them together yet, even though they'll eventually be glued together, because I want it to stay on the tree. I know you can't see what I'm doing as far as the glitter sticking, but it is sticking. And I don't think I got this one. Okay, I'm going to let that dry for just a minute. But I left this little nub up here. Let me put my stars on a paper towel and then get this cleaned off. So this is probably dry by now. So what I'm going to do, what I want to do, is put one on this side of that little nub and one on this side of the little nub. And then glue them together. I think it's going to work. All right, so what I'm going to do is put a little bit of glue here on this little nub up here. And glue one of them. Ouch. Should have kept my silicone fingers on. Put a little glue here. And try to match up these points as best as I can. I'm going to hold them on that nub until it dries. And these will separate at the top after the bottom has dried. So this one doesn't seem to be stuck on the glue. So let's try that again. That's another thing you can do, is you can go back when you're finished and look underneath and see if there's any place you need to drop a little extra glue. And then for the other part, what kind of glue should I use? I think I'm going to use my art glitter glue because it does dry clear. Once I get it running, that is. I'm going to just put some art glitter glue in here. Turn it around and put some on this side. And then I'm going to clamp it. With my Dollar Tree clamp. Make sure it's even. And I know it's not going to look pretty with that clamp on it, but there's the tree part. Okay, so plan B. I ended up going, I already had these here at the house from another project. I got one of the Dollar Tree duster mop pads. It's microfiber and it's real fuzzy and furry, and decided I would make. So here's the finished tree. I really like it, and I hope you do too. Bye-bye.